Hello, everybody.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hello. Oh my gosh, how exciting.
I hope it's okay that we just start recording right away. We like to just
Sure, no problem at all. It's
okay,
so
cool.
Don't worry, Anne is
good
going
to
to
see you.
edit anything awkward out.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can turn the light on in here. Hold on.
Okay.
Hopefully this isn't. Yeah, that's much better.
There we go.
Ah,
It's okay.
I was just
we
untangling
were
mine
just doing
too.
all those things. Lights, headphones. I'm like, headphones with the hood. See, I'm trying to go for like a Donnie look. I got my skeleton and my gray hoodie.
I love that. I love that. It is the month.
I couldn't find my cellar door shirt that I made in 2004. And so I was like, all right, got to try something different.
And I was like, I didn't do anything.
It's okay. You have
Well,
Donnie
we're gonna
Darko
talk
in your
about it.
soul.
Yes, we're going to talk about it today.
I like the wall color. That looks really cool behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I moved into my friend's ex-girlfriend's room.
Cool.
And
And that was the color that was there.
yeah, and I mean, I don't mind it. I like pink. Pink
Yeah,
works
me
for
too. Pink is my color.
Yeah, I was like, this works. And I've been here for a few years now, so yeah, I'm kind of really like it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Are you
it's so
still
great
in
to
like
see you.
that Hollywood area?
Yeah, for now, I'm trying to get out of here. I don't know where yet, but trying to move somewhere.
Move to Maine.
Yeah, do what Anne did.
No, it's like the most different that it could be from like Southern California, Hollywood. It's so quiet here.
That sounds absolutely beautiful, actually.
I know
Lovely.
3 people who moved there in the last couple of years. It's wild.
The cities are a bit crazier than I've ever seen them, so I can understand that.
Yep. They sure are. Like I was just traveling and I'm like, oh, this is what the world is like. I can't wait.
Whoa.
I can't wait to be back and like hear nothing except for my cat's feet pattering on the floor.
Oh, that's such a wonderful
Poetic.
that's yeah, it's the little things that mean the most.
Yes.
Speaking of Hollywood, should we talk about how we first met?
I love how we
I don't
first
even
met.
know if you remember. Obviously we do.
I know. Were you guys at the one of the screenings for Donnie Darko at the Egyptian? Was that it?
So you invited us to that because we met you like a week before by
Was
coincidence.
that at the 101 Cafe?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yes, I
I'm gonna
remember
share you a
that.
picture right now so you can get
So
a
it was
refresher.
in 2004, which is disgusting that's 20 years.
It's
I was like, 10
insane.
years, right? And I'm like,
I know.
no.
Feels like yeah, more of a blink of an eye, and it was like 20.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh.
Oh wow! Look at
Little
that!
babies.
I love that. I love that picture.
Isn't it so cute? And then,
It is
Jolena and
so
I went
cute.
there for years after. I just hung out there all the time. And this
Your
was like
picture's on the wall there, right? Like childhood photo of you?
My childhood photo's there, but it's not there anymore. I mean, well, it's now the
Oh.
Clark Street Diner.
Yeah.
So all the pictures are. I don't know what happened to the pictures, but
So I don't know if you watched Daisy Jones and the Six, but they had a bunch of scenes set there, and there were still photos on the wall. I was looking for yours, but I don't think it was at the right table. So maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't remember seeing those pictures. They maybe when
Okay.
they shot that was before they changed it over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be. It might be. So can I just tell the story of what happened when you walked in that night?
Please do.
So I was a big Nowhere fan because
Nowhere.
I found it. I knew about it. And obviously, it was really hard to find. This is like 99. And it happened to come on like HBO or Cinemax or something late at night. And so I set up my VCR to record it. And I was like, this is the craziest, coolest movie I've ever seen. No one else I knew had ever heard of it. It was like my own secret little thing. And then I loved SLC Punk because I'm a big Matthew Lillard fan. And then Donnie Darko, obviously. So when you walked in, Anne and I were sitting across from each other and we both like went,
we reached out to each other's hands.
Like this. Gasp, like, what?
And I think I used to eat there pretty much almost every day back then.
Yeah, a lot. Well, I found that out after the fact because Jolene and I came back and like saw you many, many times.
Yeah.
Little did we know, like, I think it was my first time there, right? Was it yours, Ashley?
Wow, really?
Oh, I don't know about that. It was early days though, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, and I just remember, I think we sent you a note like on a napkin, right?
I
Yes.
believe, yeah, and I thought it was like the sweetest thing ever, and I was like, I gotta go say hello. And
Oh,
Yeah, I think we wrote, "Why are you wearing that stupid man suit?"
I
yeah,
hope we did. That's
We
funny.
did, and then Jimmy, you wrote back the like 28,
Oh my
like
God.
and
Oh,
I was
The
like,
28.
numbers.
Yep, 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Yeah, still got it.
got the sound clip now.
Yeah.
No, but like
Anyway,
we were like, what? And what's
Yeah.
funny is it was like the waiter was that Chris, who was like a friend of yours, Jimmy.
He's still a friend of mine, yes.
Okay,
He's
that's
still
so
a very
funny.
good friend of mine, yes.
But
That's
yeah, like
cool.
we handed it to him to hand
That's
to you,
right.
and he was kind of like, really?
Yeah, he wasn't really here for it.
But then you were into it because you like sent that back and we're like, oh my God.
I thought it was one of the coolest things. Like, that is so cool, actually. It made me become
Aw.
fans of you.
Oh,
Oh, well, to this day, anytime you come up in any capacity, anywhere, or anybody ever says, like, who's the nicest, actor or whoever I always say you, like, hands
you
down.
are too sweet.
No,
You're too
you are
sweet.
one of the kindest, most, like, just generous people we've ever gotten to talk to and hang out with. And this is really cool that you took the time to do this with us
Oh,
today.
well, thank you. I just honestly feel so fortunate to be a part of it all. I'm just very lucky. Very lucky
and
and
that's the
grateful.
feeling we get about you is that you like
Yeah.
actually give a shit about like the work you're doing and like you're passionate about it and like you love the fans. Like it's something that's been so apparent to us, not just our experience, but like it's so cool. Like we love
Well,
it.
I appreciate that, and it actually does, I'm gonna get a little choked up, but it does mean a lot to me, when it comes to movies like Donnie Darko when it came out and it wasn't this big hit movie. There's the same thing with Nowhere, which I'm actually
Yeah, I know.
in.
I can't believe that's having a resurgence right now.
Yeah, it's kind of great after, I think 25 years or 26
Oh
years,
my
something like
gosh.
that. And as a part of these movies that I was very proud of, and with I was very lucky to work with the filmmakers I worked with, and just kind of understanding they weren't these big kind of like studio films, at least by any stretch of the imagination, and so it had a very limited audience. So it's always very cool to talk to someone who knows those movies or love those movies, because I'm a fan. If I wasn't in them, I'd be a fan of them. So
Yeah.
while we've been on the tour for Nowhere, actually, we were kind of talking about back in the 90s when we made those movies, and back then we didn't have the internet, so it was kind of like you go to record shops, you found people that listen to the music you listen to, and then you kind of find your tribe. And that's kind of, I
Yeah.
feel the very same thing with the fans and, with the people I work with. I'm just very lucky in the sense I've found people who are my tribe, because I'm still a fan of so much. I still get starstruck and still get, nervous and
Oh.
yeah, and I love that. I love that feeling, actually, because it actually is such a powerful, passionate feeling. It carries me.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're alive and you are like giving a shit, like Anne said.
Well, and
Yeah, and
also
it
like
and it drives my work, because
Yeah.
I love to act. I love making movies, so it's a dream come true. Really, still I can say that.
it's
Oh.
so cool. You're like keeping in touch with that like childlike feeling in your inside. And like when we talk about like the themes of fandom, we're all about that. Like
Yeah.
we are all about finding your tribe through your passions. Like
And that's how Anne and I met. I don't know if you know that. Probably not. You probably don't. And
Yeah.
Jolena. All three of us met on a Drew Barrymore message board when we were teenagers in the 90s.
That is awesome. See, I'd love to hear that, because it does. You literally find people from your tribe,
Yeah.
and then the world's a little less lonely. It's a little less colder. It's a little less darker. And in
Yeah.
that sense, there you have hope and you have optimism and those are realistic feelings that you have. And it transcends, I think, just being on the outside. Then you don't feel so much on the outside anymore.
Yeah, there's
Aw,
something
Jimmy,
real special there.
you're right in our wheelhouse with all
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
For
thank
Like
sure.
you're
you.
the best. Like this is just
You are the best. Like, sorry, you just are.
yeah, we're gonna just keep making you blush.
You're all
Yeah.
the best too. I'm just very lucky to be in your company, honestly. I always
Oh.
have been. Always have been.
All right, should we get down to business and talk Donnie Darko?
I would love to.
Okay.
But look at, I
So
got this guy behind me
I
over
saw,
here.
I was wondering if that's what that was. I think I have
Aw.
that somewhere. I think it's like in a box. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of space now that I have babies, but yeah, that is so fun to see. I love that figure. We should say what it is. I forgot. Like, is it okay if we do video on our YouTube?
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to clear, but we'll also have the audio. So for anyone who is just listening, he is pointing to the amazing little what was the brand that did that figurine of
That
Frank?
was NECA, I
That's
believe.
what I thought.
NECA,
Okay.
NECA.
So cool. And it had like your head could be switched with the bunny head, right?
Yeah, I think it has. I put the head on there and then the little bunny heads over here.
Oh,
So cool.
And
That's a
then
great idea.
Ashley, I was so jealous when you got that.
Oh, do you not have it?
No. And I
What?
think
I love
I
it.
think it was like $100 at the time, and I bet it's really expensive now.
Oh,
And it
wow.
has this little
didn't-
letter in the mailbox from Roberta
That's
Sparrow.
right.
Oh my god.
The
From Donnie
best
Darko.
detail. That is so cool.
I
I
just,
need
yeah,
to
I thought it
find
was,
it now.
I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
You must have been
And
so honored.
I still am. So I keep it up. I'm like, that's
I
pretty cool.
love that so much.
Not a lot of people can say they have like an amazing figurine of them.
That's so
And it's got my
cool.
best side with the eye missing.
I love that.
I
All
do.
right.
I like that. Like, get my good side. Get my good side.
The eye side. So do you want to tell us how, if you remember, like how you came to either audition or were you offered the role? How did you end up in this part?
I do. I remember it clearly because there was a time when, in the 90s, when I started to work quite a bit, when, you know, you're, as an actor, you're looking for that role or that character, that script. And I found that by trying to choose what I thought would be a challenging character, I was actually limiting myself. And I didn't know really what I wanted to play until I read it. And that's when I was affected by something. But one way I could suggest, you know, auditions or movies to chase would be by asking to work with actors that I just loved and adored. And believe it or not, and this is going to be a little crazy, but I had just seen Rushmore and I was taken by Rushmore and I loved it. And Jason Schwartzman was attached to do this movie, Donnie Darko.
Right.
And so that's how I came upon and I had to audition for the part.
Oh, wow.
And I remember reading the script and I fell in love with it the moment I read it, but I couldn't quite understand what was happening. So I did, you know, have to read it. I think I read it like 3 or 4 times, and then maybe 5 or 6 times just kept going, you know, wait a minute, and going back and forth. And, you know, having the luxury to do that, I was able to, you know, at least make sense what it was to me. So I know when I went in the audition, it made sense to me.
That's so cool.
And
Yeah, that's all that
the au-
matters, really,
yeah,
right?
and the audition scene was just when he runs over Gretchen. So it's when you meet him as a normal kid.
Oh.
Understanding, you know, at least for me as I read it and went on, that Frank is Donnie's sister's boyfriend.
Yeah, which is like
Right.
such a tiny detail that
Yeah,
you
you have
almost
to pay
forget.
attention. Yeah.
But once you know that and you watch the movie, it's all over the place. You know,
Yeah.
it's the writing. Frank was here, went to get beer,
Yeah.
drops her off in the beginning in the red Trans Am, honks before the jet engine falls. You know, so she's on the phone with him when she comes into the room and she's talking
Yep.
to him. So there's actually so many sorts of moments. And kind of when I began to understand just how kind of, you know, integral the character was, you know, and falling in love with the script, I really wanted the part. And the thing was, I didn't think I was going to get it because it's written to be 6 feet tall and blonde, was the character description.
Oh,
Oh.
really?
2 strikes
Blonde.
for me. Yeah, I'm not 6 feet and I'm not blonde, you know, and
But you're striking.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I really, you know, I loved it, and it made sense to me. And I remember kind of just going into audition for the part, and they asked if I had any questions, and I did say to them, I remember clearly going, actually, I don't have any questions, but I want you guys to know one thing. I totally get it.
And was
And I-
Richard Kelly there at the audition?
It was for Richard and for Sean, yeah. And I think they looked at me like I was crazy, but I did understand it. I mean, it's the same understanding that I have of the script now, and I just sort of came, at least to me, an early conclusion was that I was Donnie's guardian rabbit,
Yeah, that's such a
kind of
cool
with the
way
idea of
saying it.
Harvey, you know, yeah, because
Yeah.
it didn't, the script never said that he was like this demonic rabbit, it just, you know, just rabbit. At least I don't remember the demonic part. And then, so I just had an idea of Harvey, exactly how he appears to Jimmy Stewart, this big brown bunny or whatever. And then when they showed, I was getting fitted for the suit and they showed me the mask and I was like, wow, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that just adds a whole other dimension to it.
Right. Because how
To
could
be
your
completely honest.
imagination have even gone to where, like, who could come up with that? It's so incredible. Did it give you like a little bit of a horror? Because I remember being scared before I went to watch it the first time because I thought it was going
Um,
to be kind of scary.
yeah, well, no, it's interesting because it didn't change the way I looked at the character. I still felt like he was his guardian, like a dark guardian angel, from a
Okay.
darker
Yeah.
spirit. And it just made him a little bit more cool, a little bit edgier, a little bit more wicked. But in that sense, it made me just kind of think he's still his guardian. He's his guardian. His guardian,
Yeah.
his manipulated dead, if you will,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and guiding him. And so in that sense, it was just, and then, coming to the realization that the bunny outfit was just because I'm a sensitive art student. So
Right.
that's just my character's Halloween costume that I dyed, and then I
Yeah.
get shot in that reality.
Which is such a cool reveal.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I manifest in that when he sees me in the theater, in the suit and in the shape that I was killed in.
Yeah. Ugh,
And so
love
then I
that.
realized that it was not so much the supernatural bunny, but it was the character himself was supernatural,
Yeah.
tied in, you know, pretty close knit to Donnie and his immediate family.
So cool. Love that.
It's so cool. And actually, I have all of these thoughts. I'm just gonna like say a couple. So Ashley was talking about like it looks scary. It looked like a horror movie a little bit. It's actually one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm not a horror fan. So when I describe it to people, because they're like, "Oh, it's like that scary bunny," I'm like, "Well, he's not scary."
He's
Yeah,
the
Like,
cleanest in the
once
world.
you know Frank, yeah, you just have to get
Once
to
you know
Frank.
Jimmy, you're like,
Yeah.
no, but yeah, I think that scene at the end where they show you like sketching the mask, you're really like, oh, it's just this artistic guy who made this cool costume. Like he's not
Yeah, and I think
scary.
at one point too, well, not think I had these yellow pages, or the pages that come as rewrites. And at one point when they were wheeling Donnie's body out at the end, I was there with my arm around
Oh,
Gretchen, so that I was part of everything. But
interesting.
wait, I
I
don't know
think
if I realized you were there.
why
No,
we
he's
didn't
saying like
film it.
they
Yeah, we
didn't
never
in the
filmed it
script draft.
I
for a
see.
few reasons. I think I was out of town at the time because I left to go shoot something else while I was filming Donnie Darko.
Oh.
But I also think that maybe it might have been too on the nose. Maybe it might have suggested possibly that I was more
Right.
involved than I was. Because in the end, I'm just his
Mm.
sister's boyfriend. Is the idea.
But it
That's
is
caught up the same way that Donnie's caught into that cycle. Because
it's
the
almost
Jed,
cooler to not make it so like clear. Like you have to pay
I
attention to know.
I
Yeah.
I think so too. Because there's also things in the website that they did after the movie. Do you remember that
Yeah,
interactive website?
totally.
So
Oh,
they do
so
reveal
Oh, I
cool.
where that jet
forgot
engine's
about
from on
that.
that website.
Mm-hmm.
Because the FAA guys are following him,
Yeah.
Donnie, at the party, at jogging, and
The
they want to
jogger.
know, yeah, because they don't know where that engine comes from. And in the website, they answered it comes from the year 1992. So it's a 4-year rift in time and space.
Ah, so cool.
I
I
didn't
remember
remember
doing
that
that.
exact, but I do remember the website being like super cool.
And
Yeah,
especially
it
for
was
that time.
It was, yeah, I think it was the first interactive website of that kind.
Yeah, that
And
would
it
make
kind of like you
sense.
answered like little questions, little trivia questions, and it would open up another door with more
Yeah.
information about the movie or the
Oh my gosh.
remembering
backstory.
it.
There was another really similar website, and I'm realizing it was probably like the year after for oh shoot, now I'm not gonna remember the name of the movie. It's got Jennifer Connelly and Jared Leto.
Oh, you're talking about I was the
I'm gonna
Darren
find-
Aronofsky film.
Yes.
Yeah. Why am I forgetting? It's a great movie.
So there was an amazing website for that. Like similarly.
Oh, are you talking about Requiem for a Dream?
That's it,
Yes.
Requiem for a Dream. I would have loved to have seen that
For some
website.
reason, when you said Jennifer Connelly, I was picturing Jennifer Coolidge. Very different vibe.
You're like, I don't remember any film with Jared Leto and Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh my god. Anyway.
But yeah,
Okay.
when it was interesting, like the audition was interesting too, because I remember also after the audition, they said, so I did the audition, I read the scene, and they just had me read it once and asked if I had questions, and I said I didn't. And they said, well, we were also wondering if whoever they cast in the part, they want him to be in the suit and to do the voice as well.
Yeah.
And then I said, thank God, because I was going to ask for the same thing, because that just meant I worked more days and would make more money.
Of course.
Okay,
of
that's
course.
a good reason.
I'm just trying to make a living. Yeah, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
make a living. And so it did work out, in that. And And it was in that post process that when we added the voice, all those 6 months after we finished shooting it, that and saw the footage, that I kind of began to get an idea of really, it just added a whole other dimension to what I had imagined. That it was really kind of like very edgy and a little bit creepier and a little bit horrific than I had originally taken it,
Yeah.
visually. Just because you get so caught up in it sometimes. And yeah, I was kind of like, wow, this is gonna be a little creepy. Like I just you guys made me creep myself out. Didn't
Yeah,
see
because
that
there
coming.
are a few like a few scenes where it
That
has
scene
like
with
scary.
the knife where Donnie's
Mhm.
like first seeing you in like the bathroom or something. Oh my! I remember being
But,
like,
like, are you saying, Jimmy, like basically when you were filming it, you still couldn't have imagined what they would do in the editing room? Is that kind of what you're saying too? Like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I don't want to take all the magic out of it, but
But no,
most of
it's
the
cool. I
idea.
like
yeah,
unpeeling
we
the
love knowing
onion.
this.
Well, I have this mask on, so you can't really hear it because my face is muffled. So it's like the world will end in 28 days, and he's standing, 20 feet away from me. So I've got to
Across the
shout
golf
this.
course.
And that's a really, I think, I mean, Jake's a fantastic actor. And it's just a testament to how great he is because he can't really understand what I'm saying. He's got to kind of have it memorized and wait for
Yeah.
those pauses to be
Yeah.
able to respond, and to be able to respond in character the way he did is just, I mean, that's what made Donnie. It's what made him
So
Donnie.
cool.
I love Jake.
Yeah. And watching it unfold like that was really magical. The whole experience really was really quite something. It was quite something else. And
Kind of lightning in a bottle.
all
I
right,
feel.
is she back?
You're back.
Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw it happening. I don't know if you guys like
you're
heard me saying like,
no, we didn't.
it's fading away.
You're back. That's all that matters.
I'm back. Sorry about
Yes.
that. Jimmy, can I ask, do you know why they wanted you in the suit? Like, I get what your motive was. That makes a lot of sense. They just felt it would be like more
More authentic.
authentic. Yeah.
And that really made me just love them that much more.
So
And,
cool. It's so unusual, right? To do
yeah,
that.
it really is. And to do the voice, and I've added the voice. So when you hear the Halloween, the Middlesex Halloween Haunt commercial, that's actually my voice as well in the voiceover.
What?
Oh, that's cool.
Come to the Middlesex Halloween Haunt. It will tear your soul. So they asked me to kind of play with that again, to kind of insert Franken throughout the movie. And that's why they wanted the person who was doing it to kind of do everything, because that would keep it as authentic as possible.
That's so cool.
You just blew my mind. Especially because I feel like
that.
you have a pretty recognizable voice. Had no idea that was you.
Yeah, it was, I think I definitely kind of threw my voice a little bit. I think when you go back and you listen to it, you'll be like, that's
Oh
totally
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that tonight. I
you'll
gotta hear it.
you'll hear that it's me when
I really wanted to do a refresher right before this, and I just
Me
didn't have
too.
time. But
I know.
we're just gonna do it and be like, "Oh, Jimmy."
well, it's been such a cool time to be doing this podcast about it with you. Criterion is now streaming it on their channel, and then
the timing is so strange. Last year we did Scream during Halloween, so we were like always planned that this year we were going to do Donnie Darko during October. So we didn't know that it was going to have this you have got this.
Yeah, well, it's kind of just all coincidental.
line.
Same thing with Mark Jacobs and his Heaven
Yeah.
line, and Richard Kelly collaborating with them and kind of creating this new clothing line for Halloween for this time of year. And
Oh, cool.
it's all I could get. It's, I'm just really grateful to be a part of it all. I couldn't, I'm thankful and grateful and sort of flattered and taken aback and just kind of trying to enjoy it.
Speaks to you at that age. You kind of carry it with you forever, I feel like.
Well, it did. I mean, the script, and I didn't think I was ever going to get the part, to be quite honest, but I remember reading the script and just being taken by it. Like still one of the coolest things I've ever read. Full of heart. So I have a thing for scripts with a lot of heart. It doesn't matter if they're dark or fine, as long as they have heart, I think that's what carries stories through in any genre. And it also I was a big fan of Twilight Zone growing up, and it reminded me of this sort of, because Twilight Zone, in between sunrise and sunset, and in between day and night is this gray area where anything can happen and everything's possible. And all of a sudden the rules that of the everyday world don't apply. And I thought that I've never seen, still to this day, probably a better sort of present day rendition of the Twilight Zone in its own way or fashion, and without being the Twilight Zone. And then I was taken by that, and I'm still taken by that. Yeah, it's one of the things I think is like the cool, why I'm such a fan of it, because it
I love that.
transcends, it's timeless. It transcends even the decades, being set in the 80s when we made it in the early 2000s, and
Yes.
we're in the 2020s,
Yeah,
and
here we
it's
are 20
still,
years later.
yeah, and it still carries over, I think, with a lot of fans, and it's like, it's just this beautiful story that's timeless. And
Ugh.
being a part of that again, it's like I couldn't be more, I feel really lucky and really grateful. And I think
Totally.
we were going to talk about Drew a little bit too.
Yes, we
And
would love
Yeah, we wanted to ask about.
to.
I actually knew Drew a little bit before Donnie Darko, because she was going to do a movie with the director of Nowhere and the Doom Generation, Gregor Rocky. She was going to star in a movie with Thomas Jane from The Punisher, and
Oh, he's really good.
Tell us
Thomas is incredible.
more. Do you know?
It ended up not working out, but it would have been this incredible story they called Frigid and Impotent.
I was gonna
Oh
guess
my
that. Yeah, we've
gosh.
talked about this quite a few times. She actually, believe this or not, can you imagine this? Was one of the ideas she was gonna pitch to Adam Sandler when they first were getting together to do a movie together, was gonna be Frigid and Impotent.
It would have still worked on it, because it was supposed to be funny, but it's dark and
Right.
Yeah.
crazy, and with Greg it would have been really, really stylistic.
I don't think
and
I knew it was a
You
Greg
know,
project.
I think I remember reading it kind of because it just keeps coming up in our research, like about random other stuff. It'll be like, here's Frigid and Impotent again. And I think I did see his name attached once.
I mean, I don't know, because of the subject matter, if you could do it, and if it would play as well into
Right.
today's audience, because it's about these two people with sexual frustration who, when they find each other, the sexual frustration's gone. Then because of that sexual frustration, they're out murdering people.
Yes.
Right.
Once they fall for each other and they can consummate their frustration, they go out and kill everybody.
I can't believe, by the way, that we're meeting someone else, or not meeting, talking to someone else who knows about that movie, because
Well, I
it's
mean,
like
yeah,
no one
So
has
random.
heard of it.
I would have really loved to have seen it. It would have been the first thing that Greg didn't write that he was going to direct, but he rewrote the
Oh.
script. So it was funny,
Mm.
because when I have it somewhere and it just says, Frigid and Impotent remixed by Gregor Rocky.
Oh my
He
God.
wow.
Okay,
rewrote
wait.
it,
So were
he
you saying
adapted
you
it.
met Drew then?
I met her around then, so she knew who I was for Donnie Darko, and believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, her and Nancy Vonen championed me.
I bet they did.
I think that
Yeah.
I remember hearing that, and it totally makes sense to
And
me
I'm
too.
still so grateful to them to this day,
Oh,
and to Richard. And I tell them I still feel this grateful, like, thank you for having faith in me to play this character and trusting in me to play this character that,
it was the
it's
right
been,
call.
yeah, thank you. It's so integral to the story.
Can I just ask, like, do you remember, were you going to be involved with Frigid and Impotent, or was it just because you were friends with Greg that you happened to be around?
Just because I was friends with Greg and I happened to be around,
Okay.
so they were having a meeting one night and with Greg and Drew, and I think it was also with Michael Stipe's company, Single
Yes.
Cell, at the time.
Wow, I can't believe you know
And
this.
Sandy
So
Stern,
wild.
yeah. So we all went out for coffee just to hang out and talk, and they were going to meet about it. And I mean, I might have played someone who got murdered or something, and
Yeah, you probably would have
couldn't-
ended up in
yeah,
it,
I
right?
couldn't tell you. It's possible.
Wow, this
But
is
you know,
really
'cause
cool to learn.
Greg and I still continue to work together, but
Yeah.
for one reason or another, things don't always work out, so it kind of just ended up falling apart.
But maybe because of that, it laid the groundwork that when it came time for Donnie Darko, it was like,
It certainly did, and I think I know they were that Drew was looking to produce something and looking for something, like
yeah, I
that was
actually
of her caliber.
just read something that after doing Charlie's Angels, which was like such a gigantic undertaking, they were like, let's do something small. Let's do something where the whole world isn't watching our every move. And Nancy found the script and was like, this is it.
And they trust, and a lot of credit goes to Nancy and Drew for letting Richard make exactly what he wanted to make.
Mhm.
Everybody else wanted to buy the script, hire another director, completely rewrite it, recast it completely differently, and
Yeah.
it really is Drew and Nancy that trusted in Richard and gave him the money. Goes, make your movie. We love your script and your vision. Make that.
It is kind
This
of
is what we
incredible.
want.
What was he, like 25 and never had directed a movie? That's
25
pretty
or
amazing.
26. Yeah, I think he was 25, and it was the first time I'd worked with someone younger than me. And I remember just
wow.
coming up, and I kept coming up to him and just being like, it's amazing. I cannot tell that you're a first-time director at all. You're amazing. He's
And
amazing.
also,
He
and
was
like,
fantastic.
I just feel like he looks like such a square, and that's not like, that's not even. It's just literally you like wouldn't know this is the guy who came up with that. I don't know. Like, just if you judge a book by its cover, I feel
Right.
like
He doesn't look like he's from Hot Topic, is what you mean, right?
No, but he's chock full of these brilliant ideas, you know, and he still is.
yeah.
So it was really, you know, it was the whole thing was really magical. It's the same thing, you know, like I signed on for, you know, Jason Schwartzman, and when Jake got cast, and I was filming the first scene with him on the golf course, he just blew me away. Right there, I was like, "Yep, this is exactly where I want to be."
You're
And
like, I wanted Jason Schwartzman, but this is cool too.
well, I love Jason Schwartzman, but
Yeah.
I know after that, I think I did go up to him after that. I'm like, "You are," and I think I remember having the suit, like the mask up. It's just like, you are Donnie Darko. Like
Oh,
that's all there is to it. Like, didn't take any convincing. It just like he came alive right off the first moment.
that's
And
so cool.
and
And
like
he's
you said, he was having to do a lot of it with his imagination.
Right.
And well, you know, he's, as we can see, he's a fantastic actor. And you know, and the whole cast, really, everybody that
Oh,
was there
such
brought
good
their A
cast.
game and was really incredible. You know, Jenna was like, to her, for me, my favorite stuff is the stuff between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the love story between them. I was talking about heart in a movie, and there's so many other elements that I love in this film that carry it. But I think this heart really is the core of it. Their love for each other. And in
Yeah.
that sense, that's when he does become a superhero, and then he's
Right.
not afraid to die, and he's
Save
gonna
her.
give his life. Yeah, like I really do get choked up talking about it. Like,
Oh.
you know, because he wants to kiss her, and he wants to realize his love, and he just wants to have sex with Christina Applegate, and his hormones are just coursing through him. And he meets someone who's, you know, why don't you take a seat next to the boy you think's the cutest? And it's
Yeah,
like
the
all of a
best.
sudden there's this real moment between them. And
I love the music in that scene.
it's,
That
I mean,
scene is so good.
the scene is so great. And then when you go on, it's like, and then he wants to kind of, you know, the whole thing about Donnie Darko, what kind of name is that? You think
Yeah.
he's some kind of superhero, somebody looks at him, like, what makes him that? And
so cute.
then they're, you know, and they're developing this true friendship, and they're working on this project together, and then he's going to kiss her, but this smoking jogger who's not a smoking jogger staring at him,
Yeah.
and she wants it to be a special moment because they're special people. And then they're
Yeah.
working on the project together, and they're so into what they made. And then the teacher says, you know, do you ever think that darkness might be a part of their natural development? And then that the bullies, you know,
Ugh.
Seth and
I
Alex,
know, it was so
so
funny that
great,
it's
but just
him,
like, didn't your
right?
dad like steal
Stab
your
your
mom?
mom.
And then you could see she's visibly that, like, she's never been well from that. She's been broken the whole time, and that's
Yeah.
where the cracks kind of come undone. And all he cares about when he runs out, see, this is where I get choked up, but all he cares about is that she's okay. And in that moment,
Oh,
that's what's special. Then she kisses him, and she kisses him deeply, because that's real love. It's
yeah.
not about wanting to kiss her. It's about wanting to protect her, wanting her to be okay, wanting to be there for her. And that's when she kisses him. And that's so beautiful to me. I'm like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
That's the heart of the movie. I mean, there's the love with the family, and the love of the friends, and the love of life. And, you know, but it's really, that's when you can give it up. That's when we make the biggest sacrifices for love. And through that, he finds himself, his courage to not just be Donnie Darko, but to be the superhero that does save the world, that saves the universe. And it's really, I just think that's just so, from Richard, and to write that, and to be able to execute that, and to, you know, to Drew and Nancy, you know, to help them realize that by not changing it and letting him make the movie that he wanted to make, is the thing that we all love, from audiences to people like me who played in it, love it so much and still cherish it to this day.
Oh,
It's kind
yeah.
of, I'm
I
sorry.
was just thinking, I remember at the director's cut screening that we went to, you know, and all the cast being there, like almost everybody came, and you could tell it just still meant so much. I guess it was only 3 years after it came out at that point, but you could tell it still meant so much to everybody. They all had like such like heart about working on it and what the project like came to be. I don't know. It was really cool to be there and see that.
There was a really great camaraderie among the cast while we were filming it the entire time. Since Jake had the biggest trailer, you know, he was never in there. So he was always like, why don't you all hang out in my trailer? So we really all did
Aw.
hang out in Jake's trailer. And
Oh,
Alex, you know, who's quite an accomplished musician.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm a huge,
She's
huge
a big
fan.
fan.
I was
Okay,
actually
yeah.
gonna say earlier, like, about Jason Schwartzman. Did you know he was in a band? And then I
Yes,
forgot
with
that
Alex, which is how
yes,
Alex was in the movie originally.
It's
Because
such a
Jason brought him
punk.
in. Yeah, and it was so cool because Alex was so sweet and everybody was just so great. So he played the bully, but he wasn't. You know, he was by
Yeah.
far the most
he's
accomplished
so
musician
cool.
out of everyone. And he would let the guitar pass around and everyone would sing songs and play songs and he would support him. And then every once in a while
Wow.
he would play something, but he definitely didn't like dominate or anything. Like kind of almost had to coax him to play like, come on, play one of
To be a
yours.
fly on the wall,
Oh my
man.
gosh,
And then
amazing.
and Jake would come in every once in a while in between scenes and like brush his teeth, like, hey guys, and then go back out. And then we'd rotate like this kind of musical chairs, like, you know, okay, then they needed me, then they needed Seth and Alex, or then they needed Stuart and Gary Lundy, you know, the friends. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we would all
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of rotate around who was being called to set.
It's pretty cool to me that you were there so much. And, you know, I guess I would sort of almost even imagine that your scenes were filmed like just you by yourself, like you're done in a week by. So it's awesome that you were there and more like getting to hang with everybody. I love that.
Yeah, it was not, well, you know, I would be there for like a couple scenes here, a couple scenes there. I was off for about 10 days in the middle of a 28-day shoot. So I was off shooting something else. And in that time, Sean McKittrick, the producer, Richard Kelly's partner in the movie, he wore the suit one day because I couldn't even be there.
Oh,
So
little
there was a
tidbit.
lot of, yeah, a little bit of trivia. So there's one, I'm trying to remember which one it is.
Yes,
'cause he
you
was
know.
basically I can't remember. It might be something at the school. I know I was in the school in the dark when he
Yeah.
Oh,
puts the
with
axe through
the
the pipe.
axe.
If you look
Yeah.
really close, I'm in the shadows there.
Yes.
But there might be, it might be another shot at the house that I'm not in. Because I'm in the shot by the window and I'm in the shot when he's talking to Catherine, to his therapist.
Mhm.
So, but there's just, I'll have to ask Richard.
Okay.
But there's one quick scene I couldn't be there, but I was there quite often, you know.
So
And it
cool.
was, you know, so I thought it was like the easiest job I ever had because I didn't have hair and makeup, except for when I had the
Except
eye
for the
shot
eye.
out. Yeah. And
And
then
you should share that photo.
I
Anne
wanted to
has
share
a
two
really cool
pictures.
picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna share two pictures. The first one I'll share is us at the director's cut.
oh, that's such a good
Aw.
with Stu.
Yeah, I was
Stuart.
gonna say you mentioned Stu, which made me realize, like, oh yeah, he's in this picture, and this is us with our homemade
With our
t-shirts.
shirts we made.
Oh, those. Can you send me these when these are done? I want to
Yeah.
post these. These
Yeah,
are
totally.
amazing. I love this.
Yes. Let me show you one other one because you mentioned the prosthetic. So one
This
of
is
the
the
times,
coolest.
yeah, this is so cool. So one of the
Oh
times
my
that,
gosh, I remember taking that photo.
yeah, and like I came over to your apartment briefly, and you were like, "Oh, I have something really cool to show you." And
No.
like I had no
I-
idea what you were going to show me. I was like,
Were you just like,
I mean,
Give,
yeah.
give me a sec. I know I have it here, but
now I'm freaking out. Oh my god, I love it.
I do. All right, so let's see what I have because it is
Like
right.
we need a
kinda
drum
next to
roll.
me. All right, hopefully, because this thing is, gosh, it's 20-something years old now.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does this bag open?
And I saw that for the shoot for Heaven, they like painted blood on your
Oh
eye.
my god. So
Awesome.
I
cool.
still have it.
That is amazing. See, that's the
love
type
it.
of thing I would save. I'm so impressed with you.
I believe it's like in a little prosthetic bag, plastic
Nice.
prosthetics
Cool.
bag for prosthetics, and then of
Were you
course,
like, can I take that home? Because it's pretty cool.
it'd be the same without this guy,
Oh,
my shadow.
okay. How do you feel about your costume being in the Academy Museum?
That is really actually pretty cool. Like,
Oh my god.
I'm still haven't completely soaked it in. I'm really beside myself to be in there with R2D2 and C3PO and
Yeah,
Doug Jones'
So
creature from
it's a big
the
deal
Shape of
room.
Water, and then right flanking on the other side of me is the orange spacesuit from 2001.
Oh my god.
Space Odyssey, which is insane because most of the props from Stanley Kubrick's movies are burned. So
Oh
the
wow,
fact
I
that
didn't know that.
anything exists off that. And then right next to that is the telephone booth from Blade Runner. So me being a
Like-
huge movie geek, I'm surrounded by legends.
You're just like, how did I get the chance to be this?
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I got a chance to wear the suit, and then that suit be put next to. Yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh.
can't believe it.
Have
It's
you seen it in
wild.
person, Anne?
No.
Okay, I went about a year ago, and yeah, my daughter who's 13, she was too scared to go by it. I'm like, you don't understand, he's really sweet. It's not scary at all. But I took some pictures. I sent them to you, but I'm sure they got lost in the shuffle, so I will resend them to you. I was pregnant, and I'm like, pregnant, but baby and Frank.
I forgot that
so
you went,
neat.
Ashley. Like,
Oh, it was one of the reasons I wanted to go, was for that, just to see that in person, because it was just so neat to see.
Yeah,
But-
I'm so kind of taken by all this. I'm just been, I couldn't be happier and prouder to be a part of it. Still, after all these years, I'm like, wow, I was actually part of something super cool.
And
Way
something that just
cool.
keeps, I mean, I'm sure at the time you're like, this is a great experience, this is such a cool movie, but are you still surprised by, because it came out and was just kind of didn't have a huge success, and then just
I am.
cult following like crazy?
It's funny because I'm surprised it didn't do better.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then I'm surprised at how well it's kind of become this big cult hit at the same time too. I'm really, taken. I don't know. Taken back is still I still wake up and have to pinch myself, going, "This is crazy. This is so cool," and it's so cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, I guess it was just like a timing thing, right? We know 9/11 affected it in
Oh,
some
God.
ways.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, we came out, I think, a month after
Yeah.
9/11 or 5 weeks after 9/11.
I do remember like the part where like there's a plane sound and they all look up. I remember that feeling like eerie at that time, because anyway, it's just like a bad circumstance, but thank God it found its life
Yeah,
afterward.
and I think, well, that's also something that doesn't normally happen. It didn't, I think that also a big testament about the movie and about Richard himself and everybody involved, and Flower Films and Drew and Nancy, everybody that believed in that movie. But the fact that it was not promoted, it wasn't these big ads or posters or things. You have to see this. This is the cool thing to see. So it's your word of mouth, just someone passing it off and going, "Look, I don't even know what this is, but you have to watch this."
Yeah.
Like, trust me, just watch this. And to me, that is one of the biggest compliments you can ever be given, because it's literally being promoted because someone was moved by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those projects are always cooler anyway, right? It doesn't have to have a big studio like pushing it. It's like people love it and they want to share it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing, I seem to have this running theme, which I've become quite comfortable with, but most of the movies that I do are studios would, if they had their choice, they would be buried.
Yeah.
Like, I know the studios they still don't understand Donnie Darko. They certainly don't understand my early movies with Greg. And that's okay. I'm being on this tour with Greg a little bit, kind of come to the conclusion that, we make movies like for our tribe of people.
Mhm.
Yep.
And if they're not in that tribe, that's okay. That's okay that they don't like it or that they don't want you. I completely understand that they're not for everybody.
Love that. We talk about our tribes a lot. It seems to be a common theme.
Yeah, but if you're from this tribe, have we got the movies for you?
Oh yeah, I know. I was telling Anne, there's two other podcasts we've become friendly with. One is Makeover Montage, and the other is Movies That Made Us Gay. And they're both going to be so jealous
Nowhere.
about this. They
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah.
Both of them have covered Nowhere, and they both love you, and they're going to be so jealous. Hi,
I think
guys.
that's one of the biggest compliments the director was saying about Doom Generation Nowhere while we've been on that tour earlier this year. And it was just like, people come up to me and go, "Greg, your movies made me gay."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe they didn't maybe they just opened something up that
Yeah,
was already
They
there.
helped you
Yeah.
figure out yourself,
Yes.
probably.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Which
about
is a good
embracing the
thing.
self. Yeah, I was
Embracing
thinking,
yourself.
I was thinking about Donnie
Exactly
Darko, and when you were talking about like the heart and all that, and I was like, I never really thought about it, but it's kind of coming of age, because basically it's like, even though it only takes place over 1 month, there's still like a lot of growth that Donnie does.
Yeah.
Like-
massive.
his arc is incredibly yeah, it's incredibly huge.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who just wants to have sex with Christina Applegate.
Yeah,
too.
he really does kind of grow up in that span.
And then he
It's
falls in
true.
love, and all of a sudden it's like where he wouldn't give his life for anybody or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
You see him sitting on the cliff with her dead body. Like, there's the only way that he's going to be able to save her, save his mother, to save his sister, his father, everybody he loves, everybody that ever was, everybody that ever will be. He is now the time for him to answer that call.
Yeah.
The hero crossed the hero's threshold, in that classic Joseph Campbell storytelling sense. And he does that. And that, the fact that that even exists is, I think, a super important part of storytelling, because what it makes him as important superhero as Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I love that.
Save the galaxy. That's exactly what they do. And
you
they
have
do
such
it
a
by
great way of phrasing all of this.
well, it comes through self-sacrifice,
Yeah.
self-sacrifice. And that's a big thing when you really love somebody. What will you do for them? And it's like, well, you
Amazing.
give everything.
It's true. Oh,
And that's such a
Totally.
beautiful message. Yeah, it's such a beautiful message. Not that anyone needs to go out and needlessly do that.
right.
It is kind
Only
of
if
like
it's true love. No.
Yeah.
yeah. And so where and I guess so the big question is, where do you lie on the timeline between love and hate?
Yeah, or love and
I
fear.
love and fear. I'm sorry. And I'm all the way over with the love. Forget the fear.
We're big into love too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
So as funny as that is, and what Johnny tells her to do with that timeline, I think that's
Yeah.
right. I think it's important. I think that there's an important point to be made in that all as well, about love and being loved and feeling loved.
No. I haven't watched the movie in way too long, but everything you're saying, it's like, oh, I love that part. Oh, I love that part.
I didn't realize talking to you was going to make me love like my favorite movie more.
Yeah, that is sort of how it feels right now.
I mean, I guess it's the cat's out of the bag, but I really love that movie. I really love Donnie Darko.
Wait,
I
really?
loved it
No.
since, yeah, and I loved it since I read it, and I read it over and over and over, and it struck me, and I was able to connect all these things that continues my love for it to this day. When that's kind of what storytelling is about. Not every movie or every story can tell you about your life or enrich your life, but there's certainly ones that can and do. And Donnie Darko is one of them, for certain.
So glad you got to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you. Me too. Me too.
Do you have any other stories that you want to share? I mean, you gave us like the frigid and impotent part. I'm like, yes, this is the best little tidbit. Anything like that is just like, oh, yes, we eat it up. And we love hearing about Alex Greenwald playing guitar, like,
You have
Anne's
no
dying.
idea. Like, Phantom Planet is literally my favorite band.
Yeah, amazing. Like, is there anything else that you would want to share that you can think of that we would go crazy about?
Everybody else who was there, Patrick Swayze, Noah
Yeah.
Wiley, Drew Walsh, she was there. Everybody there was not only super cool and super nice to work with, but they were happy to be there. It's nice
That's
to
the
be on a
best.
set where someone's not just coming and doing the job for the paycheck. It certainly
Right.
wasn't for the paycheck on that either.
Yeah.
But doing it because, oh, this would be good for my career. Everybody who was involved with it believed in the project, loved the project, and that's what also I think really made it a passion project,
So cool.
and a joy to be a part of.
I bet.
I love how
Aw.
much joy you bring to just talking about it. Like, it's
Yeah.
I know I keep saying
It
that.
brings me so much joy. It still brings me so much joy, and I mean, it's one of those things where this movie wouldn't exist if it weren't for the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It
And
would have just faded.
it would have faded. And a movie that I love, that I'm proud of, that I think when it, I just am an actor in a movie, and a small actor in this movie. But if I can be a part of something, if we can be a part of something that inspires people, that makes people think and feel and connects them to the world around them and to people around them, then I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I think that Donnie Darko is one of the coolest things, or coolest tools that exist, that can provide that sort of connection. And so I'm very proud of that. I am very proud of that.
Jimmy,
Amazing.
thank you so much. Like,
Thank
we
you.
could just keep you here forever and just
I
sit
know. We
here
won't
like
do that to you. You've got a life.
No, I mean, I can stay here forever too.
But I'm gonna ask one more just random question. What's your favorite song on the soundtrack of Donnie Darko?
Ooh,
I know it's such a good one. It
hard.
just came to my mind. I'm like, I feel like he hasn't answered this.
That's so tough. I mean, I've always been such a fan of Killing Moon.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
It's
That's the
really,
first one that came to my
really
mind.
tough. Killing Moon, but also, when it's like, so when the movie was done, not to sound weird, but if you get the British version of the soundtrack, it's 2 CDs. And one of them has all the songs, like Under the Milky Way, which I think is so appropriate. And I love so
Yeah.
when I grew up, I was in high school in 1988, just to age myself. And this is
You don't
Joy
look
Division.
it.
Well, thank you.
At
Joy
all.
Division, Echo and the Bunnymen, Tears for Fears, those songs in particular is exactly what I was listening to in high school.
That's
Love
so
it.
So
cool.
when he put those in the movie, I was kind of like, this is what I was listening to at that time. I was a junior in high school in '88, right? And then I remember this stuff. Like that's exactly what I listened to. I mean, one of the first shows I went to was Tears for Fears.
Oh my
Nice.
God.
Yeah,
And that scene is so cool the way
it's
that
so monumental. And then, so the very end, when I first saw Donnie Darko at the Rough Cut, it had those extra songs that had Never Tear Us Apart, which I
Yeah.
also love, which was also part of my high school. But we hadn't gotten Mad World yet, so I think it was Bad by U2 was the last song, believe it or not.
Oh, weird.
It's this
So
Rough
weird.
Cut, and it kind of worked. Yeah, I mean, of course, Mad World.
Oh my God, Mad
like
World
epic.
is
Yeah.
I
But
can't
I think
imagine it without that.
it's tough. So when it comes to the nostalgia for me, it's probably Killing Moon.
That's
Nice.
so cool. I love knowing that you were like in that era. Like it was your life as a teenager.
It was literally my life and
So
everything I
cool.
listened to. And I remember like just still the whole thing, all the parents like wanting to support. And you're just kind of learning about politics. There's no concept of it. Not that I'm a political person, but the whole thing, I remember Dukakis against Bush and the whole race for Republicans. And the parents wanted of course, all the older people were more conservative, wanted the Republicans, and the younger people
Right.
wanted the Democrats. And,
Yeah.
and so it's funny to look back on it, like Holmes Osborne, he's also
Oh, Holmes.
him and Mary McDonald.
We
They're
love
just
Holmes.
these like incredible actors, incredible
So
people,
good.
incredible performances. But that just whole
Everyone.
thing, yeah, he's just sitting in the chair. He's like, "Oh, dude, caucus."
Yeah. Just under his breath. Yeah.
It's just so great. It's so great.
Yeah, I see you are doing that. I'm like, I have to go watch it right now. I love it so much.
Yeah, the whole thing was it was one of those magical. Like, I've been lucky to be a part of some pretty fun movies and great movies, but I want to say that Donnie Darko does stand head above most all of them that I've done in every aspect, from the script to the experience of making it, to everyone involved, to the response. It's one of those 1 in a million movies.
Cool.
So we couldn't have picked a better movie to talk to you about.
I know, especially
thank
right
you.
now. Oh my gosh. Do you have anything that you want to plug? I know you've got the Mark Jacobs Heaven line going on. I mean, I know you're not like behind it, but you're in it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough. He's been fortunate to do a couple things with Greg's movies too, as well. Like we did a Nowhere line, or Totally Effed Up line,
Oh, cool.
a couple years ago, and then I did something with him in Deftones earlier this year before the Donnie Darko one.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
Other than that, I'm still working with Greg Araki, so we're on this tour for Nowhere, and then we're going to do the whole trilogy very soon. We're going to screen all 3 movies. So everyone who wants to go back and watch those in 4K restoration, and all the
Oh,
scenes that have been pulled out and censored, put back in.
So does this mean that Nowhere's finally going to come on DVD, or I guess it's Blu-ray or
Blu-ray, it'll
whatever
be
it
on-
is now?
Look
So
for it streaming.
it's on
Yeah, look for it
VHS.
streaming very soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because man, I literally have it on a VHS tape, taped off of
Recorded.
whatever
Oh, yeah, no,
cable channel. That's it.
And I'll tell you what Greg's been saying on the tour. It's like, so you'll get a chance not only to see it in the theater, but we're going to release, we're trying to release all 3 on Blu-ray as well.
Cool.
Special. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's
Hope
definitely
so.
coming out on Blu-ray. It's definitely coming out on 4K streaming. And Greg said, for most of our fans, because the movie came out in the 90s and it was never a DVD release of it.
No.
So it's only on like a
crazy.
VHS or some
Yeah.
Russian bootleg. So the
Yes,
colors
a
are off, the
bootleg.
sound's horrible. So he's like, now you can throw all those away, because
Oh,
this is like, you've never seen it as beautiful as, for him to get a chance and restore it. So when he's dead and gone, you can see it the way it was meant to be seen.
amazing.
The colors
Beautiful.
have never
Oh,
been
I was gonna say the
beautiful and
colors have got
vibrant.
to be amazing, right?
That's-
That movie, I think of color immediately.
Yeah, the colors, the music, you can hear every sound cue. I know one of the things people were saying, they didn't realize one of the actors, Montgomery, played by Nathan Bexon, had a blue eye and a green eye.
Yeah.
and now you can clearly
Ah,
see his two clearly different colored eyes. So, and you know, and then of course scenes that were removed, and that's remains the same for the trilogy. So that will
wow.
be coming. Nowhere's playing now and on this little tour, and then Totally Upped Up Doom Generation and Nowhere will do a little one next year. And then I've been fortunate enough to work through the pandemic. So, you know, Greg has, let's see, we did a season of Now Apocalypse. I don't know if anyone else is gonna, we're looking for someone else to pick up season two. Anybody out there?
Okay, throw it
Maybe
out
it's a
there.
season two. But we would definitely go back and make a season of two of that, as well as I know he's working on a couple of things for the future. I have a movie I did with Martin Landau and Michael Gladys and Alexis Zenia from Broken Flowers, and a really fantastic cast. A weird movie called Without Ward.
Ooh.
It's kind of
Okay.
set in the future where these people are under house arrest, or yeah, they're under lockdown under house arrest, and they can't leave their house under penalty of death.
Ooh, well, we like you doing weird movies,
It's
so we're
it's
here for
very weird.
that.
Yeah, and then another one called I Challenger. I think they changed the name recently to Bury Me, but it can be found under I Challenger or Bury Me. And I really was really excited about this movie. I play this kind of 40-year-old gamer who's looking for direction in his life and struggling to make money, you know, to make ends meet since he lost his job to a robot. So he's selling marijuana to underage kids, and then becomes friends with one of them. Not, I guess somebody plays games with online after kind of a big date online date fiasco that goes wrong, and then he decides that he's going to take a new turn in his life. He's going to bury himself underground for 24 hours, and he's going to live stream it. That's how
Ooh.
he's going to find his luck. And let's just say, as you can kind of predict, it doesn't go the way he planned.
Ooh, I'm already feeling like claustrophobic just imagining it.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think about it until afterwards. Some of the response from people were like, I don't know if I can watch that. But you know, I think
Wow.
only half of it. I'm only in the box for like the last half.
Okay. All right.
For the first half, it's like what
How
I
you get
do,
there.
yeah, to come up with the idea and put myself there. And I
And
really
it
think it is a lot of it has so this movie has a lot of heart, I think. And so
have
it
that
has
in
one of those
common.
things where you're watching it and then you find something out about the character and it completely changes the way you see him.
Oh,
And
that's what,
I love things like that, like this reveal. That's why it's so
yeah.
important not to spoil it. But you know, so I challenge her, and you know, and I know I'm going to get killed for not saying a couple of others.
Well, should people follow you on Instagram to like really keep track of all these things? Is that the best
Yeah, you know,
place?
I was so bad at it, but I'm getting better at it. I'm finally posting
Yeah,
updates
I've
again.
noticed
So
it.
definitely, yeah, definitely following me on Instagram. I'll post more news as well as old photo dumps from stuff to bring people up to speed that they can catch up on. You know, it's never too late to watch some of these projects. You
Cool.
know,
Do you
oh
want to drop your handle in here?
yeah, it's a real James Duval.
Okay, there you go,
Um,
everybody.
yeah,
We'll link to it too on our episode page, but
thank you. Yeah, and
just
then
don't
you
want
know,
anybody being lazy going, oh shoot, I never got what that was.
and then I just been lucky to be working with these bands like Boy Harsher. I worked on their short movie for their new album called The Runner that played on Shudder.
Oh, cool.
And then there's another I can't, oh, they're gonna kill me. I can't remember the name of the it's an anthology movie that came out last year during Halloween, and all these kind of different stories. And I play this character Elijah who's stuck in a insane asylum, who may or may not be the prophet for the voice of God.
Oh,
Oh.
sounds a little like Frank.
Yeah. So you know, yeah, I'm lucky to be working here and
Yeah,
there.
you're
And
so
I
busy. I
guess,
can't believe you made time for us in the
oh,
middle of all this.
let me plug Body of Light, who I just worked with on their video
Please.
too. Very beautiful video of a song called Bitter Reflection. I do a lot of crying in it, but
Oh,
it's a very beautiful song and a very beautiful video, and I'm a huge fan of that band as well. And you know, yeah, I'm just very lucky to be catching all my favorite. Like I watched, didn't work with him this time, but Slow Dive appears in all of Greg Araki's movies, like every
mm-hmm.
project since I've worked with them and the TV show. So really happy to have just been caught catching them on their latest tour. And I guess that's my last plug, just because I love them so much.
That's nice. Look
You
at
just
you.
have so much love to give.
Yes.
And like I realized I'm like, I call you Jimmy. Is that because of how you introduced yourself
Yes.
to me?
Yeah, because I like to
That
go by.
is
I mean, I
how-
go by James, but I go by Jimmy too for my
I
friends.
remember somebody like when we were sharing like like an online friend of ours being like, "Why do you guys call him Jimmy?" And we're like, "That's what he goes by."
Well,
Sorry,
that's the
you're
thing. So when
jealous.
people go James, I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's your way of
I
knowing.
must have not met you
Are we
before.
cool yet? Yeah.
Yeah, if someone calls me Jimmy, then they've at least met or they're friends of someone.
Then
who
you look in
knows
their
me.
eyes and you're like, yeah, I remember you.
Yeah, or I
I mean-
try to remember. Yeah.
No, I think you have an amazing memory. Like,
Definitely.
yeah. But
Well, thank
Jimmy,
you.
Jimmy, thank you again. Like, this has been so cool. I feel like I've just been silent, just like listening to you and your positivity. And I
Yeah.
feel so grateful that we were able to get you on our podcast. Like,
Oh, I'm so happy
is
you
a
got to be on your
thrill.
podcast.
This
I
is a
prepared for it.
big get for
I
us.
had a
We
big
are
cup
really
of coffee right before, so I hope I didn't talk too much.
exactly what I
way.
would have wanted.
Yeah. We love it. We love it so much. Thank you again for your time and
Thank you for everything.
for all the like joy you provided, like not knowing you personally, just watching you on screen and knowing you personally. It's just like this awesome love fest.
Yes.
It's so wonderful to see you both again and to go back over all the old memories. It really
I
is.
know.
It's so wonderful.
We're
I'll
so
make sure I
old.
send
Thank
you the
you.
pictures so you can
Yep.
share them if you'd like.
I'd
Yeah.
like to, please, if that's okay. It warms my
course.
heart. Warms my
Aw.
heart.
Thank you, ours too. All right,
Aw,
take
thank
care.
you.
And we look forward to seeing everything else that you're up to. We'll be watching you.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
So nice
Thanks,
seeing you.
Jimmy.
Bye, Jimmy.
Bye.